Hello, and welcome to Pokemon for everyone who loves Pokemon. I am the Squirtle Master, and today we are talking about something which I found incredibly sad, and that is the treatment of Cerise throughout the Pokemon Journeys anime. Let's break it down. First of all, who is Cerise? Cerise is the daughter and eldest child of Professor Cerise, the man who runs the laboratory in which Ash Ketchum and Go work for as research fellows. Chloe, at the start of the series, had no idea what she wanted to do with life, but it never occurred to her until an episode in which they asked the entire class, what would you want to be when you grow up? I don't know about you, but that is always a horrible question to answer, especially when you're 10 years old. Either way, most people assume that she wants to be a Pokemon professor like her father, and she doesn't know how to feel about that assumption, as she is herself not sure. So, how does she overcome this? After having a conversation with her mother, Chloe realizes that she could be whatever she wants to be and no one can tell her what to be. By the way, side note, Chloe's mum is the best Pokemon mother ever. Well, in the anime at least. And no one can change my mind. Either way, that comforts Chloe, and she thanks her mum. We don't find out much at all about that. We don't actually learn anything really about Chloe after that. For the continuation of the series, continuation of Pokemon Journeys, not the other two. As yes, we get the one I think that the key episode for her before Eevee came along is the episode with Phoebe the Feebas. I generally loved that episode anyway because it actually showed her caring nature, even though, as Go says, she wasn't interested in Pokemon, which is surprising to most people, as she is literally a Pokemon professor's daughter. But she helps the young girl and her Feebas, and her Feebas evolves into Milotic. So that was a big step for her and character development, in my opinion. Other than that, though, we don't really get much of her. One of my favorite Chloe scenes of the entire series, in general, all three series, is the scene with her and Go in the scavenger hunt, I believe, when they're doing orienteering, I believe actually, when he says to be young was a wonderful thing, and she says, don't look now, but you're still rather young. Either way, we don't get any much more of Chloe in that series. But everything changes starting with episode 1 of Pokemon Master Journeys. In the very first episode of Pokemon Master Journeys, To Train or Not to Train, Chloe mistakenly believes that researchers who research Eevee and their evolutions are trying to kidnap an innocent Eevee. So, in retaliation, she, quote-unquote, saves the Eevee from them. At the end of the episode, that conflict is resolved, and because Eevee seems to like Chloe, if I remember correctly, that's the reason why she got Eevee, they let Chloe keep Evie. And that actually means that technically, if you exclude poor Yamper, Evie is Chloe's starter Pokemon. So, what happens next? Well, not a lot. Of course, we have the episode where Chloe and Evie meet Galarian, Ponyta, and Rapidash. I loved the noises that Evie made in that episode, but in my opinion, that didn't really make for much progression in her story. It all kicks off when Chloe and Evie meet a trainer and his Vaporeon. I do not remember the name of that episode, but it was a cool one when Evie really wanted to go and watch a Vaporeon, and well, they did. Then at the end of the episode, Chloe explains how she wishes for Evie to choose what she wants to evolve into, and that seemed to inspire them as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I think it's inspiring. I don't really remember the episode that well at this point, but at the end of the episode, they give Chloe a water stone. So Evie, if they so wished, I'm not good with English, like become a Vaporeon, they could evolve into Vaporeon with the water stone. So when Chloe asks Evie says no because, well, Evie wants to think more about it. And that's where the whole Evie escapade start, as I call it, because literally then the entire goal of the rest of any other episodes that Chloe and Evie were featured in were basically to be posters for the other evolutions. They were more just marketing ploys because nothing truly happened. We had more of Chloe going, oh, I want to choose my own destiny, and I want Evie to choose my own destiny. But no one really went forward. Well, in my opinion, it could have been written so much, this frustrates me, as this character had so much potential, but due to the fact that they were literally a renegade to she was only written in to be the female duologist, triologist, I don't know what you call that at this point. There's Go, there's Ash, there's Chloe, and even then, Chloe gets less screen time than she deserves or anything. She never gets any true development or fleshing out when she truly deserves to, because yes, we may be treading over the whole subject of I don't know what I want to be when I grew up, because we have gone through that with other characters such as Serena, but she was written well, so there's no reason, well, in my opinion there is no reason why Chloe couldn't have got the same treatment. Because, well, she had an equal amount of potential, especially since she was an original character for the anime. She had so much going for her, but due to the interesting way the entire plot of the entire Pokemon Journeys anime over all of those seasons they basically did nothing. And then, of course, we had the wonderful recap episodes that incredibly frustrated people beyond belief. I was quite scared of how angry some people got. And I just want to say, I am not blaming anyone. It wasn't OLM's fault. And it was no one's fault. Well, I don't want to step into that right now. But if you know, you know. And if you don't, I suggest you try and find out, because it is actually really useful to know what was going through, down with the Pokemon team. But back to Chloe, we got Evolution, Episode 1, Evolution, Episode 2. It was basically not only. It was just bad, in my opinion. Sure, it is. I mean, in all honesty, I'm not going to lie. We're probably going to remember Chloe better than we will ever remember Tracy Sketchit. But he had a concrete goal. And Chloe, like, we have. Well, the one episode that I got really excited about, I'll talk about now. The Clefairy episode. I was so excited when I heard that a Chloe-centric episode was finally going to happen. Again, I was excited about all the other ones, but let's face it, they were all just Evie meets evolution. Evie likes the evolution. Evie still can't make up mind, and neither can Chloe. The timing of that episode did confuse me though, considering if I remember correctly, there was the Masters 8 tournament going on and all the recap episodes and stuff. Someone even likened some of those recap episodes and that Chloe episode to the Axew episode in Pokemon Black and White Pokemon League. I consider that an insult to the Pokemon Journey series. Even though it was a recap, it was still probably better than anything that Axew episode would have ever been. Let's face it, Black and White was not a good series. And if you did like it, I do not blame you, because although it was not a good series on the whole, it did have some redeeming qualities. However, that's not the topic at hand. When I learnt about the Clefairy episode, I was ecstatic. Only to listen to many Pokemon YouTubers when they were reviewing it and listening to the reviews and just the general plot of it baffling me. It was the wrong Cerise they had centered that episode on. It was marketed and basically pitched, and everything I heard about it basically said, it's a Chloe and Evie episode. Hopefully it's going to wrap up their story is what I thought. Oh, wouldn't that be good? They finally can sort her out because, give her the ending she deserves. Oh, what do you mean part of the episode was a flashback from when Professor Cerise was a kid? After all that, literally, barely any of it had anything to do with Chloe Cerise, his daughter, the person that episode was supposed to be dedicated to, Chloe and Evie's story. We discover that she wants to learn about Pokemon evolution. That's it. It sounds incredibly heartwarming. I listened to it when it was in Japanese. I haven't listened to the dub yet. It was wonderful music as always, and it was nice to hear all the Clefairy noises. I am not going to lie. And it's nice that they finally gave her something. But the way it was executed and the way all the build up to it was so heartbreaking to me. We could have had so much better for her. Pokemon evolution. We have, isn't it Professor Rowan who's obsessed with Pokemon evolution? And as for Mega Evolution, we have Professor Sycamore. She could have, done the Tracy Sketchit move and gone to be a assistant for a professor. I guess that would be against her whole ethos of, not necessarily knowing if she wants to be a Pokemon professor, despite that's what most people assume of her, because that's what her father's position is. But still, if she's interested in Pokemon evolution, surely someone who is experienced and could actually help her grow would be a good way to further her character, but we never got any of that. And, well, that disappointed me. All in all, I wish Chloe was written better.